Do you struggle with your OET reading preparations? Are you really scared, especially when it comes to reading Part C? Well, relax. There are certain techniques, tips and tricks that you can apply in solving reading Part C and ensure that every time you solve it with ease. Well, relax. In this video, I'm going to share all the tips, techniques and tricks that I share with my students to help them in reading, especially reading Part C. Let's get started. Reading Part C has 2 extracts, and each of these extracts will have around 8 questions to be answered. These are all 4-option multiple choice questions. Now, out of these 8 questions, 2 of the questions, one will always be a reference question and the second one will always be a question related to vocabulary. You are required to read the passage, 1 paragraph at a time, and solve the questions given. Now, in reading Part C, you often come across research articles which has details in depth, and that makes it challenging for students to identify and relate to the content given. Now, how do you tackle this? Here in this video, together, let's try and solve a few questions in reading Part C and find out what are the techniques that you can use to better or master the section. Let's look at the text. Alright, so we're looking at the extract now. This is text 1 and the text is based on sleep deprivation. So this is page 1. We can see around 3 paragraphs here, and if we scroll further we can see the next page and it has around 4 paragraphs. So our extracts can, the paragraphs and our extracts can range anywhere from let's say 7 to 9 paragraphs. Following the extract, we have the questions. So these are the questions for text 1. And you can see, if let's say look at the example of question 1. So we can see that in the first paragraph, the writer uses 𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿 words, and then we have 4 answer options given. So you have a question, it will be 4 answer option MCQs, right? So there are 2 types of questions possible. Okay, so one is this, which is a sentence completion question type. Like you can see, 𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿 words 2, and the answer option actually completes the sentence. The second type of question is this, where you have, what do we learn about sleep deprivation in the second paragraph? And one of the answer options will actually give a short answer to the question. So the 2 question types are, one is a sentence completion type and the other is a short answer question type. So this is how the question will be framed in let's say Part C of reading. And out of the 8 questions, so you can see 4 questions here, and on the second page there are another 4 questions, a total of 8 questions, out of which 1 will always be a reference question. Like you can see in the 5th paragraph, what does the word it refer to? So here there is a reference question. So mostly a pronoun is underlined and put in bold, and what does it convey, that particular pronoun? It could be they, it could be it. And the other possibility is we always have a vocabulary related question. Like you can see for question number 10, it says, in the 3rd paragraph, what idea is emphasized by the phrase, by no means the be all and end all? So if we are, so these are the types of questions. Out of the 8 questions, 1 will always be a reference question, the other will always be a vocabulary question, and out of the remaining 6, we have either sentence or short answer question types. And we will have 4 answer options, and we have to choose 1 right answer from the options. Now let's say we've chosen, if you look at question number 9, and let's say we've chosen answer option D as a right answer. Remember, if we put a tick mark, your answer is not accepted. Okay. Now, if we choose the right answer, we need to darken the bubble. Like you can see, I'm darkening the bubble here. So if D is the right answer, we need to ensure that we completely darken the bubble. And we should never select more than one option as the answer. Like for instance, I select option D and I also select option B, thinking that the invigilator will, mark one of it as right. No, we are mistaken. This is not accepted. It is wrong. So we need to choose only one right answer. Okay. So here I'm going to show you, I'm going to take you through how to solve these questions. I'm going to take you to question number 1. We do not have to start by reading the passage first. Go straight away to question number 1. In this case, question number 1 is question number 7, and it clearly mentions which paragraph we need to look in for the answer. Like you can see in the first paragraph. So I've actually picked out the first paragraph of the extract. This is for our convenience. So that's easy for us to discuss this and get to know how to answer the question. So this is basically the question. So tip number 1 is read the question first. And as we read the question, make sure we underline the key terms. Like if you're reading question number 7 here, it says, in the first paragraph, the writer uses 𝐿𝐿𝐼𝐶𝐜𝐲's words too. So use basically means it is used as a tool. So the words of 𝐿𝐼𝐶𝐜𝐲. Now 𝐿𝐼𝐶𝐜𝐲 could be a researcher, could be a scientist in this particular field of sleep deprivation, because that's what the text is about. The writer is a different person and 𝐿𝐼𝐶𝐜𝐲 is a different person. The writer is the one who's written the article. Now, in the writer's article, he uses this person 𝐿𝐼𝐶𝐜𝐲's words too. So the words are used as a tool, probably to express something. Now, we need to find out from paragraph 1 what is expressed by the writer using 𝐿𝐼𝐶𝐜𝐲's words. Now, once we've read the question carefully, our step number 2 and tip number 2 is read the answer options in detail. So let's look at option A, B, C and D one by one. And as we read the answer option, make sure you underline the key terms. So for option A, let's look at the first word, explain. That's a verb. That's important. What is the first word in option B? Reinforce. Option C, question. And option C is describe. Now these verbs are completely different ones. They don't mean the same. So the words of 𝐿𝐼𝐶𝐜𝐲, has one of these roles. It's either used to explain something, it's used to reinforce something, it's used to question something, or it's used to describe something. Right? So explain what? Look at option A. Explain main causes of sleep deprivation. So underline the key terms. Reinforce what? View about impact of sleep deprivation. Option C, question research findings about sleep deprivation. And option D says describe challenges involved sleep deprivation research, not just sleep deprivation, challenges involved in the research. Okay, so that's step number 2 or tip number 2. Now moving on to tip number 3. We need to now go to the paragraph that the question points us at, and that is paragraph 1, and we're actually scanning for this word 𝐿𝐼𝐶𝐜𝐲. So when we quickly scan through the paragraph, we can see the word 𝐿𝐼𝐶𝐜𝐲 somewhere towards the end. Okay, so his words are given here. Every time we sleep deprive ourselves, things go wrong. But because this is towards the end, to find out what these words are exactly used, we need to start from the top of the paragraph. So we start reading from the top, and as we read, we underline the key terms. So let's start underlining. Millions of people suffer sleep problems, also suffer myriad health burdens. Myriad means many. So what are these sleep problems or health burdens? Emotional distress, cognitive impairments, high blood pressure, obesity, metabolic syndrome. So basically, sleep problems, who suffer from sleep problems, who are deprived of sleep, also have health problems. So basically, these given in the list is actually the impact, right? Impact. So we know that the impact is mentioned here in option B. Now you can see there is a quote given here. In the studies we've done, almost every variable we measured was affected. So the quote doesn't close there, it closes here. There's not a system in the body that's not affected by sleep. Who says this? University of Chicago sleep researcher �W𝐿𝐿. Every time we sleep deprive ourselves, things go wrong, which means there are problems and there are health burdens. Okay? So this is a very general statement, right? The first sentence is a very general statement about the problems of lack of sleep. But this half is about the words that are given by the researcher �W𝐿𝐿, and these words actually mean the same to the first general statement given. So when we look at question number 7, we can easily eliminate some of the options that are not connected. Like look at option A, explain the causes. Are they saying why sleep deprivation happens? No, so we can eliminate option A. Reinforce a view, that's possible because there is the impact of sleep mentioned. But let's look at option C and D before finalizing option B. Question some research. Is it asking questions? Is it opposing something? No. Actually, the first half and the second half both support each other. So it is not questioning or opposing. So we can eliminate option C. Does it describe the challenges in the research? No, there is no mention of research at all, which means option D can also be eliminated. So our right answer is option B. Basically, a general statement about what problems people have when they are deprived of sleep is reinforced using �W𝐿𝐿's words. Okay, so the right answer option need to be bubbled. So let me quickly brief the tips that we've just discussed. Tip 1, make sure you're reading the question, and as you read the question, make sure to underline the key terms. This is very important. Whatever is important, you need to underline. Tip number 2 is read the answer options, and as you read the answer options, you underline the key terms. Tip number 3 or step number 3 is look at the paragraph involved and underline the terms that you feel are important. Step number 4, you can eliminate the wrong answer options. Step number 5 is choose the right option. Yay! Wasn't that easy? Well, how did you find the techniques and tips? Did you find them useful? Well, the idea is to practice regularly. You may be very slow in the beginning, but with time and practice, I'm sure you will better these techniques. And I would also like to introduce a great learning resource for you. This is our OET Reading Practice test. You have a total of 5 newest practice materials here for you. It includes reading part A, B and C. And if you practice this, I'm sure you're going to make yourself much better at reading. So good luck with your OET preparations. If you're looking for detailed sessions in any of the OET modules, you can get in touch with us. We have exclusive offline classes. We have an exclusive repeaters batch for those who haven't been able to crack their OET in the first attempt. And we also have our weekly mock exams. We have master sessions led by lead trainers. All these will ensure that you have a very, very good preparation before you attend your OET exam. So you can get in touch with any of our branches for offline courses for OET. We also have online courses available. Thank you for watching the video.
Medcity International Academy. Trusted hands forever.